name is Andrew Sullivan. I'm a redshirt junior, and my hometown is Monroe Township, New Jersey. My parents were always big baseball fans when I grew up, so baseball was really a tradition in my family, and I just wanted to keep it going. And ever since I was a little kid, I was always bigger than everybody, so I was always really good at it. So I just kept going with it as I grew up, and ended up being a big part of my life. Growing up, I played township recreation baseball through elementary school, which was good, through the township. And as I got older, I played through middle school, which we had a middle school team, which our team actually went undefeated. It was the first team in the middle school to go undefeated that year. And growing up through high school, I played varsity as a freshman. My high school team weren't the best, but I played varsity as a freshman and all the way up. My senior year, I actually ended up breaking my hand. I didn't play my senior year, so it was a pretty big disappointment for me. Breaking my hand in high school was pretty difficult for me because coming out of high school, I was a pretty highly recruited player, and I had a bunch of offers from a couple big D1 schools going into my senior year. But unfortunately, as soon as I broke my hand the first game, they kind of went away, and all the offers kind of disappeared. Which is, I mean, it's kind of how it goes in baseball. But it just it led me down to go to junior college, which was probably one of the best decisions I made in my life. The coach I had in my junior college was probably the most influential person on me in my life, and it ended up being the best thing for me. I learned probably a lot more than I would have learned going to any other school from the guys that I met in junior college, and I'm grateful for that. Going to junior college was a great experience for me because the junior college I went to had a really good tradition of being in the World Series for Division III junior college, which I personally got to experience twice. And we made it to the national title game one year, but unfortunately we ended up winning. The next year we got back and didn't get into the national title game. We made it all the way to the semis and lost, which was a big disappointment because we had 56 wins on the season, which was a national record and a school record. And we ended up falling short. Throughout playing junior college, we went down for the beginning of our season. We always went down south because up in New Jersey, it's obviously too cold to play in February and March. So we usually came down into North Carolina and went down into Georgia. And that's how I got into talks with UNCP. They came out and saw a couple games that I threw in junior college down here in North Carolina, and they liked what they saw. And I liked the facilities and everything that came here, that was here. So I ended up coming down here, and it was just a big disappointment because first week I got down here, I got out on the field, and I ended up tearing my Tommy John, which ended up sidelining me now for over a year. What Tommy John surgery is I tore a ligament in my right elbow that required reconstructive surgery where they had to go in actually into my knee and take part of a tendon out of my knee and put it into my elbow. They had to drill 2 holes into the bones that are in my elbow and feed it through. The rehab for it is scheduled to be 12 months, which is pretty difficult for a pitcher because sitting out 12 months not doing anything could cause a lot of other problems. So that was definitely a tough part for me. Surgery was pretty tough. I had to wake up around 5 in the morning and get all the way into Charlotte. I had the surgery down here, and I'm lucky enough to have two pretty good parents and loving parents that flew all the way down here when I had the surgery and came with me and drove me down there. They drove me to Charlotte to have the surgery, and first thing when I showed up in the hospital, they brought me in and they just drew all over my arm, drew a bunch of huge lines where they were going to cut and everything, and kind of scared me a little bit. And then they told me that they were taking it out of my knee, which I originally thought they were going to take it out of my hand, another part of my hand. So it kind of scared me on that end too. But the surgery ended up taking, which is supposed to be a 2.5-hour surgery, ended up taking 6 hours, which was, it was pretty scary, I guess, for my mom and dad. But I woke up, I was all delusional from the anesthesia. and I had to drive all the way back here down to Pembroke, which is another 3-hour drive, which is just a miserable drive. If anybody's ever had surgery, getting in a car after it. But just coming back here and having to deal with not having really being in a comfortable environment for myself at the time. I just came down to Pembroke. Another tough part was having to come to the ballpark every day and having to watch all my friends, all the guys out on the team do everything, and I just have to sit there and watch and just kind of deal with it. But I mean, I was a little bit used to it because in my senior year I had to sit out and I had a little taste of what it would be like, but it's still definitely a tough part. It's definitely tough coming down somewhere south where I didn't have any friends down here. I didn't know anybody. I just had to basically come down and live on my own and work my way in with a whole new group of people, which was tough, and especially tough not being able to get out in the field, not letting them see what you can do. There's a different level of respect somebody gets, I guess, when they see what you can do on the field and when you've just been sidelined. And it's tough being a guy who no one else has seen me out in the field yet, and I've had to sit around for almost a year and a half. But I mean, it's just another driving force, and it's just what's gonna lead to a big year this year. Last season, we had a pretty big season for UNCP baseball here. They achieved 38 wins, which was supposedly going to be the number we had to beat to get into the tournament. But things didn't work out that way, and it just is another driving force for us to go this year. We have a bunch of returners coming back, pretty much the entire starting lineup coming back, minus a couple All-American pitchers that we had last year. But with the freshmen that we had come in and the other guys that were still here, returners, it's going to be a great season coming out. We have a bunch of stuff to look forward to. Coaching staff, a couple new guys on the coaching staff, which is a good thing for us. We needed it. And their input has been big for everybody, for myself and for everybody. I wasn't really comfortable with my whole surroundings around here, not having anybody I can really turn to or no one I really knew that close yet personally. So as soon as my mom and dad left the day after I had the surgery, I found myself just sitting on the couch with my arm in a sling and by myself, which was pretty eye-opening to myself, knowing that it was just going to be me out here and I was going to have to work back from this by myself and hopefully that I was going to come back and be better than ever, which I knew I was going to be. As soon as I got out of surgery the first week, I got right back into the trainer's room and we started stretching out, which the first steps into rehab was just purely stretching, which was probably the most painful part, definitely the most painful part of the rehab. Having somebody just jerk on my arm all day back and forth for at least 2 hours a day was painful. And then the next step we went into is trying to get the strength back, which is just lifting objects heavier and heavier each week. Just trying to get back the flexibility and the strength so that I could be back throwing. And the hardest part, trying to keep my shoulder in the right condition, in the right shape, because with my elbow going bad, the doctors told me that the next thing that could go is my shoulder because of not concentrating on it at all for the entire year. So getting my shoulder back strong enough to throw was definitely a challenge. But the training staff here did an unbelievable job of helping me out every step, getting out with me every day, and getting my arm back in the shape it is now. And I know that when the season comes around, I'm definitely going to be ready to get back up on that mound.